Hello, hello, and welcome to Thursday night. It is March 31st of 2022, and this is Guitar Town Hall with David NESDALL and, of course, Ben Coombs. How you doing, Ben?
I'm doing great, Dave. I'm not feeling quite as refreshed as you are. As I let the folks in the chat know, I said, hey, we're going to be on soon. One of us happened to fall asleep. Hint, it's not the guy typing in the chat.
Well, I'll tell you, it was a calamity. It's a calamity of moments, and I'll tell you guys what happened. So, it's been a weird day, and 7 o'clock. It was 7 o'clock, about an hour ago. I went into the bedroom and I was like, well, Desiree's been home. She's out with one of her girlfriends. So I kind of decided to I don't know, kind of straighten the bed up for a second. I straightened the bed and I went in and I was like, you know what? I'm going to lay down for just 5 minutes. Just 5 minutes. All I want is 5 minutes to relax. Boy, next thing I knew, my stepfather and my mother was in my bedroom saying, wake up, what's wrong? You okay? I'm like, oh, is it time for dialysis already? Thinking that I fell asleep. Desiree saw that I wasn't on. She was making sure I was okay. Actually, Ben called Desiree. Desiree isn't home. She's like, oh my God, what's wrong with David? So she tried calling me and texting me. No, David, sleeping. She texts my mother and my stepfather that live across the street. So they come run over thinking I'm dead. Who knows?
Who knows?
And next thing I know, I've got this 80-year-old man saying, David, wake up, right here. Which is thank God. Thank goodness. But I'm
Otherwise, it wouldn't have been a show.
I'm like, oh, is it time for dialysis? And I'm waking up. He's like, no, your show. You're late. I'm like, oh my God. And I was like, I went to pull my hair, which there is none. Really. I was seriously like I had hair. Really. I went like this. There was no hair. And everyone was like, don't worry, it's okay. Ben knows you're going to be late. Blah, blah, blah. And here it is. It's 20 after 8. And we're late because of me, because I fell asleep. So there you go. There's the story. And don't ever say that I'd lie to my audience because I'm it's just lies aren't as funny.
No, you can't make that up too.
Right. That's right.
Yeah.
The truth is always going to be more funny than any lie.
Exactly. Well, I'm going to get to roll call because I see everyone's just chatting up a storm in here. Let's see. We have Polly Walnuts. We have Jerry Leica, OG, Jerry Leica himself. Bozique in the house. Great to see Bozique, my lovely sister.
No Telly Bozique. It's no Telly Bozique day.
That's right. Until I forget that rule. Yeah. Sorry, Bozique. No, but he and I bond over Epiphone Les Paul, so it's all good.
There you go.
Papa Blue is here. Joe Hervey 84, Tim Thomas, Dwight Bailey, Dan of New Jersey, Gear Junkie 35, Thomas Santiago, the guy who knows all the notes, Dave, J Metalhead Hannon himself, 7/8 in the chat. He knows all the notes. There's Des. She's multitasking. She's out with the girls. She's checking in. Yep, they're alive. Perfect. Boom. Awesome. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Wow, you guys were talking up a storm. BC Rich 581. Mike is himself says, hi guys, catching the replay at work. That's amazing how he embedded that into the live chat, Dave, even though he's watching on the replay from work.
That's insane.
That's impressive. Cushman, New York City's here. House of Twang. Who else do we have here? Randy Crooks. Guitar Man 45, who was hanging out with us last week along with BC Rich 581. T. Ricky. David Scher. A lot of talking. No, there's me. Yeah. Hey. Billy Baloney.
So, all right. So, I've got
Cry?
another story. I've got another story real quick that
Yes.
happened to me today. So,
Hi, Dave's
and
mom.
it's
Thanks for waking Dave up.
pretty damn funny, actually. My mom probably won't think it's funny, but this and Desiree knows about it too. But so, I have this helicopter here, this little toy helicopter that Desiree bought me for Christmas this year. And I've told a story about this helicopter. Anyway, this little part of the propeller had broken off.
Okay.
We were looking for it. So Desiree is vacuuming up the other day and finds it, puts it on the couch. She didn't know what it was, just a plastic piece, so she puts it on the couch. Tells me that what it is. Oh yeah, I've been looking for that. It broke off somehow. I have no idea how it broke, but it's broken. So anyway, I tell her, put it on my computer. I'll glue it on tomorrow. And today I thought about it. So I was like, oh yeah, there it is. And the StuMac glue, it's the 10, the 20, and the 30, the little StuMac glue. Well, I have the 10 gauge because it's the thinnest.
Right.
I'm trying to get the top off. I can't get the top off. So the top comes off, and I almost swallowed a whole bottle of glue. Almost swallow the whole bottle of glue. I've got glue hanging off my lip. I got glue on my chin, glue on my hands.
What would you do? Like, if it sealed you off internally, that can't be good. Like, that's bad.
No,
like, bad.
No. Thank God none went in my mouth.
Yeah.
None went in my mouth. None went down my throat. It was just like, and I was screaming. I was screaming because I thought I was going to die. Really thought I thought I had swallowed something. I'm screaming. I'm not gonna call Desiree. I'm not gonna have her come home for this. She'll just come home and find me dead or something. So I scream. I get on the phone. I'm like, Ma, I swallowed glue. 51-year-old man screaming that I swallowed glue. I'm gonna die.
Oh.
Only me. And I'm like, wait a second, I'm not gonna die. I didn't swallow glue because I can breathe. Nothing is stuck inside. My lips aren't stuck together. My fingers aren't even stuck. Nothing. So I wiped the glue off. I'm like, kind of doesn't taste that good, but I'm screaming. My mother and my stepfather come screaming. They've come over. My stepfather's a fireman. So he's a 80-year-old fireman. And I'm all right, of course. But I'm
so twice in one day.
So what a calamity today.
You need to take your mom and stepdad out for lunch because that's twice in a day, Dave. Like, come on. That I'm just saying. Octopus here's like, what did I walk into? Yep.
Needless to say, my helicopter is fixed.
Nice. Last time I worked with super glue, I was trying to do a drop fill, Dave, and I grabbed the wrong consistency, and I wanted the stuff to be able to build up, and I grabbed like stuff that's the same as alcohol, and it just went, whoom. And I went, well, there's the next 3 hours of my life with a razor blade.
Yeah.
That was, exactly, Des. You can't leave them alone. You
can't leave me alone. I just I can't be left with sharp objects or glue.
Is Desiree familiar with Nest cams? Because then she could just keep an eye on Dave, check in when she wants. We could just mount it similar to where the camera is here, and it's just Dave cam. And there you go. I don't know. Might work.
Wouldn't it be NESDALL? A NESDALL cam?
Oh yes. It's the latest thing, folks. Copyright.
But yeah, perfect. Guys and girls, don't ever put a bottle of super glue in your mouth. Don't do it.
Nope.
Don't do it.
Nope.
You might end up dumb like me.
Or dumber like me.
My goodness. I tell you. And I was thinking of things to talk about tonight. I was like, why don't I just talk about my day? Because that's fucking funny as hell.
Yeah. I love it. Your mom, always an inventor on this hill. This is the hill Dave's going to die on. It sounds like he's just trying.
Yeah. Anyway, so how was your week?
Pretty non-productive, actually. It was a pretty boring week, so it's good that yours was quite entertaining. I don't know, made a couple soda pop videos, worked on a guitar. That comes out in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
What was it?
What do you mean soda pop videos? What do you mean
I've been doing like taste and reaction videos to various soda pops. And so I did a banana flavored one from Trinidad and Tobago. That was a lot of banana, Dave. There was a lot of banana taste. And then the other one was Brio, which is I can't remember the berry, but it's out of Italy. And I did not care for that. Hey, there's Quentin James, the legend himself. He probably just woke up too. So you're not alone, Dave. You're not alone.
So funny.
Quentin's been known to nap.
Yeah, that's old men.
He's a bit of I know Quentin's a legend on more than one channel. He's been scheduled as a guest and slept through the live stream. On more than one channel, because I've been called in to fill in for him last minute. Hey, you want to jump in? Because apparently Quentin's asleep. Yep. Quentin asked, do you miss working in music retail? I sure do.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I miss it. I don't miss working on commission, but I do miss working in music retail. Yeah. Had a lot of good times with music retail.
Sure. I could see you doing like you would need a place similar to Well Strung, but not necessarily Well Strung, because I wouldn't put them on spot. But like, let's say a more cork sniffery, because you're knowledgeable, so you can work in a place like that. You can't just have Joe Blow off the street work with fine instruments, we'll say. But like or a Carter's, Grun's, some kind. I think you'd do just as well, if not better, and thrive in the used business than necessarily the new business. Because you've been there, done that.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, and I think I would much rather work in a used or vintage capacity. I'm not saying that I am the end all be all, because I certainly am not. I learn new things every day. Our friend David Davidson, who's an alumni here, who owns Davidson's Well Strung Guitars, him and his daughter Paige, they teach me stuff every time I go there. There are new things that I learned that I had no idea about. Even Fenders and Gibson guitars, stuff that I've known all my life. I go there usually once a week, and I leave that place learning at least 2 or 3 new things every time.
I started following their Instagram account after Paige was on with us, and like the level of knowledge, Dave, you would think that they were interviewing the people that built these guitars. Like they have, it's almost such innate knowledge. They're like, well, this was this, and this was done this way because of this and this. I'm like, how do you know that? How? Like, it's just such a level. I agree, a level of knowledge that if I absorb 1/10 of it just by following their posts, I'm going to be very knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie S.
I mean, something as nominal as the word carina. Now, carina is a type of wood, but it really isn't a type of wood. Carina, the word carina, is a word that the Gibson company made up. It's actually a name from Gibson for a black limba. Black limba is the wood. For some reason, Carina said, we're going to call this carina.
Right. And it's in the mahogany family.
It's in the mahogany family. That's why you don't see Fender ever saying, "Oh, this is a Carina guitar" or whatever,
Yeah.
because it's not a real word. It's a made-up word by Gibson.
Right.
For black.
Yeah.
I didn't know that until I was told that.
I had heard that Carina was a name for a certain breed of mahogany or something to that effect. Because I was like, well, it's mahogany, but it's fancy mahogany. And so that's what my understanding was. But that could be marketing. Who knows?
Right. Or octopus here is maybe not black limba, but limba. It's limba wood. So you're right. White limba, it would be white because Carina is a whitish color. So yes.
Yeah. And I agree, BC Rich. Black Limbo would be an awesome name for a band.
Mm-hmm. Yes. BC Rich 581, great show, great last week. Really nice having you on.
We had so much fun, Dave. I said, hey, why don't you come on my channel this coming Sunday? Because I wanted to just hang with them one-on-one and like, which I realize I could do that for hours. So if we have them on here, one-on-one on one, I'm more than happy. I cannot get enough of the guy. He and I, we have a similar sense of humor and yeah. Guitar Man 45 says his Kiesel Aries ordered with Black Limbo. Interesting.
Oh, very cool. Yes. Beach Rich 581, Guitar Man 45. Both of you, awesome job last week.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a lot of fun. My buddy Jerry. What a great guy. Always great to hang out with him. Last week's show I thought was a lot of fun.
And
the Chad. Chad was here too.
Yeah, like who knew? We were dragging him to the dark side of the hardtails.
Yes, I'm sure he's well on his way to buying a dozen Les Pauls.
His wife hates us.
That's okay.
Oh, she's hated you for a long time. I'm new on her hit list, Dave.
Well, I understand. I think both his wife and my wife both want to choke either one of us because I'm always bothering him about something I want from his collection.
And his wife's like, "Go ahead, give it to Dave. Give it to Dave. You can always get it back, Dave." Yeah. And Des is like, "No, don't." But then the other way, when Chad hits you up for something, Des is like, "Yeah, give it to Chad. Give it to Chad. You can always get it back. Give it to Chad."
Yep. So what other? You said you were doing soda tastings.
Mm-hmm.
So how did that start? What is that all about? Tell me what. I don't get that.
I've always been a fan of soda pop, and always whenever we've gone on road trips, growing up and stuff. If you stopped in the convenience store while Dad's getting gas and you're allowed to have a bottle of pop in the back seat, I'm grabbing something out of that fridge I've never seen before, Dave, because you don't know if you're ever going to see it again. And you don't know what it could be. So that, it's part of the thrill. And I figure, in today's world, why not make a video on it? And it's cheaper than bringing in music gear. I'll be honest, Dave. A bottle of pop's cheaper than music gear. And yes, and as my sister says, Ben likes his snacks. I do. I love my snacks.
Then why are you not 300 pounds?
I don't know. I'm part plant, according to Aaron from Albus Band, and the rest is sugar, apparently. That's why I'm so sweet.
Oh, you are sweet, Ben. Sweet Ben. So,
but yeah, the same, and I gave up drinking alcohol. So
you did
something else. Yeah, I haven't.
Wow.
I haven't. No, I've been drinking soda pop with you, Dave, since like November of last year.
Wow! And all this time, I thought you always had a beer in that koosh.
No. The Flip Side, branded, of course. Wow. Our friend at Flip Side. Tonight we have a Fanta Orange on the go. In fact.
Oh, very cool.
Yes.
Bozdik has a question for you.
Sweet. Ben, yes. One question I wanted to ask for any of the pro female guitarists out there is, does the boyfriend husband give them crap about buying new guitars? Do they need to sneak new axes in the house? You know what? The few that I could comment on, like I'm aware of their significant others, Dave, they usually date other musicians. So pot, kettle, you know?
Yeah, I have the same understanding that usually female guitar players or female musicians date other musicians.
Yeah.
I've personally never seen it any other way. That
And
doesn't mean it
honestly,
doesn't
Dave,
happen.
I think a lot of guy musicians would date female musicians if there were more female musicians. I'm just saying. Just makes sense. Like, although it's funny because I was just thinking off the top of my head, like Nita Strauss, for instance, I know her boyfriend, husband is a drummer. Like, how many guitars can she bring in? Like, your one kit takes up a corner of a room when you're not using it. So I can bring in a lot. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Crazy.
Oh, cool. Keith just got a cozy as well and a kazoo. And lots of decals. I have my kazoo back there. Flipside Music kazoo.
I don't have a kazoo.
I got to hit up Mike. He hasn't got the stuff out to you yet. He's dropped the ball.
No, and I have no problem still hashtagging Flipside Music, but hang
on I gotta find out what's up with that.
1 second. I just got asked a favor, so give me 1 second.
You do that. You be you. My sister's like, I'm all, by the way, I got drums, also an organ, and hey, I got an amp. He just says, cool.
Awesome.
Hey, if it makes you happy.
You got this for 1 second, right?
I do. I'll
be right back.
Billy Baloney's drinking a grown-up pop. Is that like one of those hard root beers or hard lemonades? Is that like a grown-up soda pop? Choir reminds one. No. Hard cream soda, I think I've seen as well. Hard orange. I don't know. Or is it where you take a sip out and top it off with your favorite, fire water? Just saying. Mixed drink. Exactly. They're not gonna say anything. Anybody that has any passion in life ends up acclimating. Nope. Acquiring. That's it. Something. You into Beanie Babies? Probably get a room full of Beanie Babies. Into model railroading? That takes up a room. Sure. Quilting. You can't make a small quilt because then that's just a hand cloth. You need room to make a quilt, I'm saying. I've seen it done. Quilting talk, sure. Any questions, comments, concerns? Tag me. Offer Dave a super chat. It'll surprise the bejesus out of him when he comes back. I'm just saying. Strictly fat tire amber ale for my carbonated needs. Nothing wrong with that, Keith. I'm not saying people shouldn't drink. Just, I didn't drink enough to warrant me drinking, basically. Oh, Dave's back.
Sorry, guys.
All good. I mentioned quilting on air, Dave. I don't think that's happened on this channel before.
Quilting as in like quilting?
Like to make a quilt, cold night, throw the quilt on.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Hang on.
Well, I'm just saying how music gear can take up space, Quilting takes up space. Cars take up space. Dang straight.
Yeah, a lot of things take up space.
Yep.
But guitars...
I always recommend collecting pedals. Pedals are good. You can hide pedals. You know how many pedals you can hide under the cushions of your couch, Dave? Before they notice?
Right. Let's talk about a new pedal, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about the new Boss. What is it? The RE200?
Oh, yeah.
The RE220, I mean. The RE220 delay pedal.
Okay.
tape delay, the Space Echo in a pedal that just
Oh
came
yeah,
out.
yeah. I've
I
heard
think that
some stuff about it. I haven't actually checked out a demo of it yet. I should. I really should.
well, I saw a Pete's demo,
Right.
and it is badass. It is wow. Yeah,
Yeah, Pete was talking it up. That's how I knew about it.
It's probably one of the best Echo Rec sounding pedals I've ever heard.
Nice.
They make two versions. They make a slightly large size, kind of a little smaller than the Strymon Volante.
Okay.
And then they make an MXR size, which doesn't have all the bells and whistles on it, but it's really cool. But I like the bigger one.
Sure.
About $400. But my God, oh my God, is it so good?
Nice. Let's see. Octopus here says, I think it's the RE202, but I smoke a lot.
Is it 202 or is it 220? Hang on.
Well, he doesn't know either.
You could be right. It could be the 202. It's the RE something or other. Hang on. Boss.
Apparently, Keith has 4 sisters that crochet. That's nice. Quilting Town Hall. Yes, Billy Baloney. Sure. Janice hasn't had a drink in almost 2 years. Nice.
That's crazy. It is the RE202.
RE202. Yeah. All right. Bonus points to Octopus ears. Remembering while under the influence. That's like gymnastics. You get a difficulty degree. Oh, yeah. Sweet.
It is badass. It is really good. Nice. Yes, it's $400. That's the only part that's like.
I've been looking around for various delays and reverbs. I haven't quite settled in what I'm going for the pedal board build yet. Although I was leaning towards Earthquaker reverb that has multiple reverbs in it. Astral Destiny, some name like and it's like their usual larger form factor with 4 knobs across the top and then some smaller ones, and it's like, hey, hold down this button and crazy things happen. I went, I like it when you hold down buttons and crazy things happen. Let's look at that. So I'm going to be ordering that soon through our friend Rob over at Tessie Switch, because he's an Earthquake rep. Earthquaker rep.
Yeah, Earthquaker. Yeah. Octopus here says $400 is steep, but that's good. That's good. It's actually a cool pedal. Well, yeah, $400 is steep, but you know what? Usually delay pedals of any substance are going to be that. Like even good overdrive pedals, like the Duelist, that's $400. The Cornerstone pedal, which one is that? The
look at all the Strymon stuff. That stuff's not cheap.
Yes, Strymon stuff is all $300 and up. A Timeline.
That's what I think of Polly Walnuts. Yoshi, the president of Boss, is retiring at the end of the year.
He's retiring. Yes, just read that. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't even know who's going to take over.
I'm sure that company. Have you ever heard a bad thing come out of that? You know what I mean? Like that company just releases products, and if it's good, it's good. If it's not, they discontinue it and move on. And then just when we thought, well, okay, Boss, it's kind of an industry standard, or I don't say industry, or benchmark, we'll say a benchmark in quality. They've been around, quarter century plus at this point. And then they do the Wazacraft thing because they're like, oh, let's get into this retro thing and we'll re-release some of our classics with a twist. And the Waza stuff's all been great.
Yeah. I would still like to see them do a reissue of the old Boss CE1.
Mm-hmm. Even the original form factor.
Yeah, big format. Yeah, it doesn't bother me a bit.
EHX still makes huge big muffs. for a reason.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's a market for it. I don't know what. I don't need it taking up that much footprint on a pedal board, but hey, people want them.
And it's not for everybody. It's not for everybody, you know. Like me, I don't foresee myself doing any gigs in any near future. I just don't see it.
Right.
So when I want to pedal, it's pretty much going to stay on a board in one area of my house, not going anywhere.
Right.
So I don't care if it's big or not. I'm not traveling with it. If I travel with it, it's just because I'm moving into a new house.
Or, if you have enough big pedals, that just warrants a second pedal board.
Yeah. Yep.
This is my front into the amp. This is my effects loop pedal board.
There is that, if you have an effects loop in your amp, yes, that's true. So, real quick, Desiree and I went to see Dennis, my buddy Dennis Del Gaudio, play his original band last night.
Oh yeah,
it's called The Warehouse,
mm-hmm.
out on Long Island, about a half hour away from us. I got to tell you, first of all, words can't even say how good he is as a guitar player.
He's tasty.
It's a trio. His band is a trio. It's country style music, country with a flair. I'd say it's more Americana.
Yep. Very much so.
With guitar flair to it. Bass player is top-notch bass player. He was even under the weather last night and is just top-notch. His drummer, I could watch his drummer just play and sing with nothing else. His drummer sings like he's a lead singer and is one of the best drummers I've ever seen. Plays on a 5-piece kit. But my God, the band was so good. There was maybe about 35 people there on a Wednesday night. No one really goes out to see, two original bands. It was my buddy George and his band, and then Dennis and his band. And on a Wednesday, not very many people. But I have to say that the songs were, I don't know why they're not on the radio. The record is going to be amazing when it comes out. It should be out any minute.
Now, is that some of the stuff that he put out a bunch of videos, I think, last year?
Yes, under the name Buck Linguini. Now, you may think that the name is stupid, but it does make sense because Buck being kind of like a comedic, a country thing, and he's Italian, so Linguini, of course. So Buck Linguini. Check it out. The songs are crazy good. Just check it out. I know the name of the band sounds corny. Forget it. Once you find the band because of the name, listen to the music. The hooks are all there. The sound is there. He is just really off the hook. Check it out.
He's such a talented player, and a throwback many ways. Like when I watch Dennis play, Dave, like a lot, especially when Dennis plays an acoustic or like he's doing his thumb picking stuff, it takes me back to when I was this tall, tagging along with my dad to a jam session. It's that generation of playing, where that was the level to sit in with the jam. They were all Dennis's, these guys that my dad would be hanging out with, and I'm just like. And then also, of course, by the 80s, that all went away for the most part. And then I discovered Dennis when he was still living with you and found him on YouTube, and anything I could watch involving him, whether it was a product demo or a live clip. And I became a huge fan. He's awesome.
Yeah, it really, really amazing. Good stuff. I would try to get him on here. I don't think he's home today. I was trying to get him on just to talk about last night a little bit, but he and most of last night was a thumb pick, and all the Travis picking that he does, and played through a hardtail Strat, one guitar, one amplifier, pedal board. Just it was great, really, really great. Yeah. Yes, Bozique, that type of linguine. Yes. Let me see if I can find a clip. Let me see if there's a clip from last night. I can't guarantee, but we'll see.
Let's see. My sister mentioned, and people were talking about Boss, and she's like, even people that don't really know guitars and gear can identify a Boss pedal because they're those colorful rectangles that they've seen again for 40 plus years at this point. Wow, 40 plus years. That's crazy. There's Joe Nardelli himself in the chat.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, Joe Nardulli sat next to us last night and watched the show. Yes, Joe will tell you how good the band was last night. Actually, both bands were great. My friend George's band is I want to say, a progressive jazz fusion type thing. 3-piece guitar player was very interesting to watch. My buddy George is the bass player, one of the best bass players on Long Island, and a sweetheart. But his guitar player was really, really interesting. He was great. He played. Watching him play was a little uncomfortable because he looked like he was on the edge of a cliff, just about to fall off. Like his fingers, like he looked like he was going to play really sloppily, but got to every single note. No, there's no palm muting. It was all freehand picking. Everything was picked. Right. And the thing is, fingers looked like a guy on the cliff going, whoa, 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 but never fall off. And he hit every note, and he was just it was great, really great.
Right. Played. You got the legend himself, Vince Janella, in the chat.
Hey, Vince, how are you? He played two guitars. He played a Sir standard, 2 split coils and a humbucker. And then he had this Sadowski. He only played one song on it. It was beautiful blue guitar. I took a picture of it. I was like, dude, this guitar's got to go in my house. This guitar was just so delicious. It doesn't really translate, but it was gorgeous. And he only used it one song, but my God, was that guitar good. Anyway, so Joe was there with us. First band was great. They played maybe 40 minutes, and then Dennis went on, played about an hour and a half. It was just, what a great night. Great night out. Two great bands, and you couldn't get them to be any different.
Nice. Randy's going out to watch Kenny Wayne Shepherd next Wednesday night.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. So Randy's going to school. That's what he's saying. He's going to school.
Yep.
When you go, Dave, when you go to watch a good blues player, it inspires you because you're just like, oh, because tasty licks. You're going to get lots of tasty licks.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know about you. That inspires me to grab a guitar. And you just can't wait to get home and I got to try to woodshed some of that stuff.
I know it. But that's not just that way. Anytime you see a great guitar player or a great band, it doesn't matter what genre. Every time you go out and see a great band or you see a great guitar player and you have a great time while you're there, it's inspiring and it makes you come home. And two things, you either want to do two things. Either you want to get home and immediately pick up a guitar and play, or you want to get home and immediately put all your instruments on reverb and sell them.
Yeah.
That never happens to me. I always want to just go home and play. But that I've been told.
Once in a blue moon, I just want to sell it all.
I've been told many times, I just saw blah blah blah, and I just want to go home and sell everything.
First time I saw John Hammond play, that's what I thought. I was blown away by John Hammond.
Bozique says that he remembers me saying that I'm not a big fan of Kenny Wayne Shepherd. I'm not a fan of how he came up, because he came up doing the Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix shtick a little too close to Stevie Ray Vaughan and Jimi Hendrix. And then everyone thought that he was the second coming. That I didn't appreciate. I'm like, how do you make it big on someone else's coattails like that? But everyone has an opinion, and everyone has the right to change their opinion. I have grown up since then a little bit, and I've become less angry. And you know what? However you can make it big, however you can become successful,
do it.
Do what you got to do.
Yeah.
Do what you got to do to be successful.
Well, yeah, you used to remember, Dave, when I don't know about you, but like me as a teenager among my friends, oh, that band sold out, Dave. Bunch of sellouts, because they sell 1 million records. Yeah, well, they sold 1 million records, and you're still going to math class, So it's like, yeah, where do you draw the line? Yeah. Everybody sells. Anybody you've ever heard of sold their soul to some degree at some point. That's the way it works, folks. So,
yeah.
But I just remember there was that whole dearth of Stevie Ray Vaughan, he had passed away, and then we had the wave of the blues kids, Johnny Lang, Kenny Wayne Shepherd, Joe Bonamassa, Derek Trucks, and it got to the point I just ended up kind of lumping them all in. And I just that's all that, and I just they're all great players, but I just never really paid attention to them. I'm like, if I want to hear that, I'll just put on a Stevie Ray Vaughan album.
Well, yeah, but
that's how it felt at the time. And now, those that are still out there doing it, hey, God love them.
Keith Campbell said the same was said about Stevie Ray Vaughan with Hendrix. Yes, maybe to an extent, but a lot more Stevie Ray Vaughan. It wasn't only just Hendrix with him; it was Albert King. He took a conglomeration of different things and made that his. Kenny Wayne Shepherd pretty much verbatim took Stevie Ray's shtick.
Yeah.
And
I can see Dave even progressing into the 90s, had Stevie Ray Vaughan lived, you could see Stevie Ray does Hendrix, and he would play a Hendrix set per se, and do a tour the same way we've seen a lot of blues play, Clapton did that. Or Bonamassa doing the Three Kings tour and stuff like that.
But that was just for a tour. That's a tip of the hat. But to have your whole shtick be one thing all the time, and then you're writing your own records, playing Stevie Ray Vaughan style licks.
Yeah,
it bothered me for a long time.
They were the Greta Van Fleets of their day, Dave.
Huh?
There we go. They were the Greta Van Fleets of their day.
Yes, but at least Kenny Wayne Shepherd acknowledges that he knows who Stevie Ray Vaughan is.
Yes. Yeah. That's true.
Greta Van Fleet says they didn't really even know who Led Zeppelin was.
Yeah. Well, ask your parents, because they played the fuck out of it while you were toddlers. Because it's somewhere absorbed in there. Some form of osmosis.
Yeah. But anyway, my
There's our rant for the evening, folks.
my tastes have changed. My opinions have changed.
Sure.
And especially in a time where, where's the next guitar hero coming from? We don't know. We don't know if there's going to be one. So, all right. So Kenny Wayne Shepherd does Stevie Ray Vaughan. Everybody knows who Kenny Wayne Shepherd is. He's fantastic. His music is great.
Yep.
He's a great guitar player. Okay. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with it. It's cool. Sure. I'd go see him. Yep. I thought it was amazing that he opened up for Van Halen. Not once, but twice.
Nice. Yeah. That says something.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yep. All good stuff, you know. And
Yeah. Rosie says the next Guitar Hero will be a YouTuber, most likely. Well, Phil X is
they
playing for Bon
already are.
Jovi.
Yeah, they
So-
already are. He is probably the original YouTuber that has made himself into
Yep.
something that's incredible.
Exactly.
For-
Because I
what
wouldn't
was-
even I wouldn't
what
even
was
say
the name
like
of
Pete Thorne, for instance, because Pete had a professional career before, even the Eruption video. Sure, he did the Eruption video 10 years ago, but still, he was touring as a professional sideman 20 years ago. So,
Right.
whereas Phil X, sure, Phil played in some stuff, but really, I think everybody knew him from YouTube, and then now he's
Fred
Bon Jovi.
Americana. Fred Americana was the
Exactly.
music store that he did videos. And for those of you that don't know what he did, I'm sure you all do know. He would do YouTube videos showing off the latest vintage or new guitars for this guitar store called Fred Americana. And he would do these 2 or 3 minute videos with each guitar, and they would be funny because it was a Phil X shtick. He would do his speedball thing that he does where he looks like he's high on drugs while he's playing when he's really not. He's just being himself. And Bon Jovi noticed him and said, "I want that guy." And
because he still plays note for note, and he was showing up at like the early days of all those Git cons and stuff like that, and just hanging out and hey, I'll do a video with you, and just he is a great guy. Yes, Bozique, Pete Thorne did tour with Don Henley several times. Melissa Etheridge, Chris Cornell.
I know him from Melissa. I know him from touring with Melissa.
Yeah.
But yeah, his Don Henley story is fantastic.
Yep. That's not an easy gig. That's like you're not playing punk, that's for sure. There's arrangements to be played. You're playing off the other guitar player as much as you're playing with the other guitar player quite often. It's playing that fancy, complicated music. Nothing wrong with that. All right, good night, Sam. Apparently my niece is watching.
Oh, good night, Sam.
She didn't hear any more cursing than sometimes during the drive into work sometimes.
Oh,
Uncle Ben has a tendency to have a potty mouth if someone cuts him off, Dave. Just saying.
Jeff K wants to know if I have any love for Jacob Draps. I don't honestly know much about him. I've heard the name many times. I know because people say he's an amazing guitar player, but he's never been on my radar.
I'm not familiar with the player. I have to look him up. I'm not aware at all.
Yeah, there are a lot of good players out there, but none that I would really call. I mean, dare I say that Joe Bonamassa is the biggest guitar hero of them all right now, right this minute.
Yeah, at least in our sphere of things for the most, because I'm thinking even like right now, some of those country guys, the hot pickers, have they even been playing the last couple years? Whereas Bonamassa never stops. If there's a gig where he plays, like I'm thinking your Keith Urbans or your Brad Paisleys, those guys,
Yeah. I mean, those guys are always going to be around, but they're not in the limelight right now. None of them are because no one is out there gigging.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if those guys were out on the road, but they're not. As far as I know, or at least not to the level that Joe Bonamassa is on pop
right now. Also. Bonamassa is on the road. Eric Gales is on the road. Night Ranger is on the road. But I mean,
Wolfgang's on the road.
But Wolfgang is not a guitar hero. He's song hero. He's everyone's favorite boy because he's Eddie Van Halen's son. And his music is fantastic. Yep. With or without being a Van Halen son, his music is great, and I think it stands.
Is he opening for Dirty Honey? Do you know, or is it the other way around?
I think Dirty Honey is opening for him.
Okay, because and this was the thing because they swung through Toronto recently, right? So I got a good vibe. They played at the Danforth Music Hall, which I know the size of that venue. That's a good 1,000+ seat venue, and I know the bands that tour through there. But it's usually, let's call it, your premier punk, underground, lo-fi bands, like the guys that I'm into, the Dinosaur Juniors of the world. They all play there. Like, I'm like, that's a decent sized venue. And like, it's not the Massey Hall or it's not the arena, but I was like, okay, and that's the quote unquote club tour that we fondly remember of those 1,000 to 2,000 seat venues. So yeah, and he's playing up a storm. That's why, like, just for hanging out in chats, everyone's like, yeah, I'm going to see them. I'm going to see, and you can see where everybody is from geographically in the chat, depending on which week they've been catching Wolfgang over the last while.
Right. Billy Baloney says Bonamassa is always working because bursts ain't cheap. Well, got news for you. He's not buying anything anymore right now. Anyway, he's actually selling. He's got 3 bursts, I believe, for sale. He just he sold a bunch of guitars to do some stuff for family members. So and as far as I know, he's not buying much of anything at the moment.
And there we go. We got the answer. Wolfgang and Dirty Honey, they're doing the alternate nights. Cool.
Okay, so all right. So they're both headlining.
Nice. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
And I dig that's a cool combination because you're not seeing the same band twice.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
very true.
Which you want to have bands that are similar. Like, you don't want to have, Willie Nelson and Metallica playing the same bill, but you want something where there's some crossover, but also brings in, because you want to be, I'm going to see these guys, but you know what? I'm now a fan of this band too.
Yeah.
I
think they're perfect. They're perfect together. They both bands sound great.
Yep. And it helps fill out a room if you have that little bit less crossover, which is awesome. But I think there's, at least in this community, it seems people are fans of both bands. That's my opinion, just from what I've seen. And of course, Sammy Hagar is out on the road because Sammy doesn't go off the road. He's decided. I don't know. Has he picked up like Lemmy's gauntlet for that? He's just like, I'm just going to tour until I can't.
Yeah, he does it. He does it because he loves it. Yeah, I think it keeps him alive.
Yeah,
touring and music just keeps him alive. It's kind of like almost like the Keith Richards thing, Keith Richards and Sammy Hagar are the 2 guys that are going to be alive way past all of us.
Yeah, they just got to they have to have something to keep their eye on. Or like Willie. Yeah, like Willie's got a few years on them even.
Yeah. I keep looking at Facebook, wondering when we're going to see R.I.P. Willie Nelson, and I don't think it's going to happen. Never going to happen.
Nope.
I think we're going to get
George Thorogood.
I think we're going to get R.I.P. Trigger before we get R.I.P. Willie Nelson.
Right? Yeah, he's finally going to send it off to Stu Mack, and they're like, we can't. There's nothing left to graft onto.
Yeah.
Hey, Terry's awake.
Terry, I'm sorry. I don't agree with you there. Listen, I've got nothing against female guitar players. If you play guitar well, you play guitar well. But I honestly don't think Nita Strauss is all that good. I just don't. I think
she's playing the smaller club.
She's a good-looking female. She plays the guitar, and she plays. Don't get me wrong, she plays, but she doesn't do anything like, I don't know. Just something about it to me is not right. Something about her playing doesn't do it for me. Could be maybe note choices. Could be that just certain notes don't make sense. I mean, I know she's played with Vi. She's played with all the big guitarists. She's got an endorsement. I get that idea. And I think there's more to it than just being a good guitar player for for someone like that. But I don't consider her.
That's true, Billy. I would say she's good for the Banshees. She does great stuff with Alice Cooper. That's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Getting a lot of Samantha Fish love in here too, which great, yeah.
Samantha Fish is a great guitar player. Now she is a great guitar player. Music Therapy Laz says, "Can't disagree with you more, Dave. She plays it and plays and looks great. Nothing wrong with that. Yes, she looks great and she plays guitar, but she's not a great guitar player. I'm sorry. I just don't think she is. I think that more than just notes, you have to have good tone. You have to have good note selection. There's more to it. And you have to have songs. There's nothing that Nita does that is memorable to me. Sorry. You know, I'll be the first person to say she's amazing if I thought she was amazing. But Samantha Fish is an amazing guitar player.
Mm-hmm. Just more my style. Great. Yeah. I haven't seen Samantha Fish live. I've seen Nita Strauss live, and she did blow me away. But that's that shredder stuff where I can't do that, Dave. Like you have me giggling at a sweep pick. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, yep, that's a lot of note. But tone, like, it's that I hate to use the term that Ibanez gamey tone.
Yeah, but there's you got Vi and Satriani. Vi and Satriani both use Ibanez guitars.
Mm-hmm.
And both players, now, be it they're more seasoned, they've got more time under their belt. I understand all that. Their tone, you actually hear the sound of the guitar. You hear the sound of the wood. It's not just this buzzsaw sound coming out of a piece of wood with metal on it through speakers. Whereas there's more to being a good guitar player than knowing a bunch of fast notes and playing a bunch of fast notes. There's just more to it. Mm-hmm. I don't care, the acrobatics is fine. I think Nita Strauss has the potential to be an amazing guitar player. She has the potential. She can do the acrobatics. But that's pretty much all she's got. And that don't do it for me. And I don't think that, therefore, she is a guitar hero. She's a guitar hero in the fact that we need more female players out there. And she is a female player that has got a name for herself. Yes. But is she a true guitar hero? I don't think so.
Terry mentions Jennifer Batten. Jennifer Batten, quite the player.
Jennifer's great. She has great tone. But do you hear from her much anymore? I haven't heard anything from
her. She's been doing clinics and come on. She was on Pete Thorne did an interview or two. She's been on with Pete a few times. They're friends. I forget. Yeah, I can't remember what it was, but I remember she was doing some clinics, but then there was something else that's just escaping me.
Laz says a lot of haters of Randy Rhoads' tone. That's a different thing because in 1980 and 1981, that sound was in its infancy. Mm-hmm. It really was. That Marshall turned up with a Distortion Plus MXR pedal. Or the the 250. If it's the DOD, it's the 250 or whatever.
Right.
That was in its infancy. He was a pioneer of that sound. So you can't. It's apples and oranges. Plus, Randy Rhoads is Randy Rhoads, and he was a classical guitar player. You can't say he's not a good guitar player and he has bad note choices because he played classical guitar before he played heavy metal.
Yeah.
Number two, Nita Strauss has had many, many decades of the perfected overdriven sound through an amp, and she just doesn't have a good set of ears to get good tone. or what she thinks is good tone is not good tone for me. I don't like it. So
They say is that gainy.
it's
I call that modern high gain tone because a lot of people have like I might sit well in a mix, but
no mids, scooped. It's that scooped gainy sound that doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
And again, you have your opinion. I have my opinion. The difference is I've got the microphone.
Yeah.
That's all. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm right for me.
Vince has the Jennifer Batten update. Gary Bit has online school, doing clinics and gigs, just canceled European tour for obvious reasons. Well, yeah.
There you go.
There you go. Let's see here.
Guitar Man Guitar Man 45 says he's going to pick up a Fractal. Very nice. XFX3.
Why not?
Yeah, he says Larry makes into it. Very cool. They're not easy to use, but they sound fantastic.
This was the week I was going to get my interface set up. Maybe next week. I got an interface for the computer. I was thinking I'm going to hardwire in, like, I got an HX Stomp here I can use as an amp sim. And that way, like, for doing demos and stuff, I can record direct and see what comes of it.
Cool.
Yeah, sure, but like say it's cables and software and devices, and it's just not flipping on an amp and plugging in.
Yeah. Well, we're all going to have to figure out a way, since tubes are going to be very hard to come by if they aren't already.
All I need is enough to have one amp on the go. If I got to rob another amp to keep that one going, that's fine. Or you're going to see a lot of reverb ads, Dave. Marshall head for sale without tubes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, go find tubes. Yeah. Marshall amp, $300. Tubes for it, $1,000.
Yeah. $2,000 for that head? Oh yeah. What's the vintage? Oh yeah. Does it come with tubes? Yeah. How much without the tubes? Oh, half the price. Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Laz, you're right. We all have our opinions.
Yep. Should I order an amp now? Keith Campbell asks. Well, it depends on what kind of amp you want, because a lot of them had lead times to begin with. So,
yeah,
might as well get on the list. You probably have, start saving now. You'll have enough money by the time it's built.
Mm-hmm. Bozique, I'm not a fan of Line 6. I'm sorry. Not a fan of their products.
Better than they used to be. I will say that.
It's not to say that I don't like digital products, because I do. Just don't like Line 6.
Yeah, I will say the newer stuff changed my mind. No, I'm not saying also it took the president or vice president. Can't remember. President, vice president of Line 6 to send me a bunch of stuff for me to check out. And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And I don't know if it's on par with, say, an Axe-FX, like, the Helix technology, because forget about the spider crap, because that stuff fell apart as much as anything else. That was the problem with it. But like our friend JJ says the JMC's rocking a Helix for years, and he had it dialed in, much how Larry's dialed his in. And I was just like, my God, like the guy sounds like Jerry Cantrell, like that beautiful gainy tone of Jerry. And I'm like, how are you? And he's like, I'm running this into a tube amp. And I was like, damn, okay.
So I got to tell you, and I haven't really mentioned this until now. I was involved with Line 6 in its infancy. When I worked for Manny's Music. I was approached when I worked there, and Line 6, what was their very first amplifier? It was a big black amplifier. I can't remember. Anyway, they gave me one to beta test and to make sounds for it. And I would, dial in sounds, and I never ever got paid for that. So that is the reason why I'm not a Line 6 lover.
I can see that.
I don't remember the name of their very first amplifier. It was a big 212, a
Right.
huge, big, heavy 212 amp.
Flex
No,
tones too?
not the Flex Tones. Way before that.
Okay.
Way before Spiders. Way before the Flex Tone. It's called the Line 6. God, I can't remember. I can't remember what it was called, but it was their very first amplifier, and it was all digital and had all that stuff. And they gave me the amplifier to make sounds for it, uh, and then when they were done with me, that's it, the AYXX or something like that, ASYX, that's it, Quentin. Yes, that's the amplifier. Something
Quint
like
was
that.
probably selling them at the same time. Axis.
Axis. That's it.
There we go.
The
Hey,
amplifier.
unbelievable.
And I would beta test that and make sounds for it. And I believe they kept some of them. I'm not sure, but never ever got paid for it. And then eventually they took the amp back. I was never thanked or nothing for it. So I've got no love for that company. So
I get it. Well, I do have an HX Effects that's still in the box. That's never been out of the box.
Yeah.
It's the replacement one. They sent me a replacement one because the first one had a bad button after
Well,
a while.
you go.
Yeah. And he sent me a second. It was interesting though, because like he sent me a product and one, but like it still kind of worked, but there was a little thing to it. And all I did was send him a message as a heads up to Frank Rashad. That's who it was. And I just say, hey, just a heads up, this button, this thing, I don't care. You sent me this unit for free anyways. I don't care. I could see he saw the message. I sent it to him on a Friday. He saw the message on a Saturday. I had a new one here on Tuesday. He never replied to the message, though, Dave. He just saw it and sent it out and went, holy crap. Like, that might have been just him, but I was just, okay. I still haven't taken it out of the box, though, because I was like, yeah, it's an okay unit, but
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of their effects. Like, some of the clones they do, but I like boutique effects, and they don't clone the boutique effects.
Right. I understand that. Yeah. Yeah. And you know what? There's a place for Line 6. If it's all good. If you like Line 6.
I think it's great for dipping your toe. If you don't know what kind of effects you want, Dave, get a little multi-effects, whether it's a Line 6 or a Zoom or one of those, just so you know what a phaser is or a chorus is. And then if you're like, I kind of dig that one, but that one kind of sucks, well, then get an actual pedal of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way I see it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Same thing.
So yeah, I don't fault anyone for liking Line 6. My problem is my problem. I don't expect anyone to hold grudges for me, and some of their stuff is good. I'm not saying that it's not. The DL4. I mean, come on, that's.
Well, they just reissued it.
That delay pedal was the one of the best things ever put out for its time.
Yep.
Great delay pedal.
They just was it a week ago? They just released the reissue of the DL4.
Reissued it in a slightly different looking box. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But good stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that their stuff is junk. It's not for me.
Their 100-watt Spider head was junk, Dave. The amount of them I saw fail on stage. Oh my God. They vibrated apart after 8 months.
Anyone that uses a Line 6 head in a touring band needs their head examined.
Well, in all fairness, every guitarist that had one that did fail, their age did start with a 1. They were a double-digit age, but it started with a 1. They were the young guys that would be opening for us locally or something like that. And I'm like, that thing's going to fall apart. Start saving your money for another head.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they would upgrade to a solid state crate head.
I could never understand when I worked at Guitar Center. I could never understand the guys who bought the $800 or $900 Line 6 head instead of spending the same money on a Marshall DSL 401.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you crazy? Yeah, maybe the DSL 401 is a 112 combo, but the amp you're getting here is you can tour with that. You can do records with that. You can do whatever you want, and you're getting a Line 6 head with the same amount of money. What's wrong with you? Just put a delay pedal in that in the effects loop of that DSL4. That's all you need. Trust me. And the kids these days are, oh, it's bigger, it's better. You're crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Because they had to have a 412 half stack for under $1,000.
Well, because it looks cool, Dave.
You don't need a half stack. You certainly don't need a half stack to play the little bar you're playing in, and you're still not going to be heard because
it doesn't throw.
That's right.
As a guy who did sound for those shows, they don't throw. I had to mic them.
Right.
At least the 100-watt Mustang head somehow threw. It threw better. I knew one guy that used one of those. He had a decent tone dialed in, and he used to giggle about it. I'm like, really, dude? Using a Mustang head? He's like, I know. He goes, I don't care. And they played such hardcore music, and I was just like, wow. But he was into solid state, too, because as he said, he always said to me, solid state is a punch in the face. Tubes is just me mashing my palm into your face. Now, some people like that mashy sound. I don't. I want to punch you in the face. I'm like, you play a very aggressive band with a mosh pit every time, every venue. I get it. Okay.
Right.
It was funny that he used a Mustang. He goes, yeah, I'll use it till it dies. And then it did.
Bozique says a DSL is good for the money, but he would prefer a JCM 800 combo. Well, of course, who wouldn't? But I'm talking about at the time in the early 2000s, there were no JCM 800s new combos anyway. They made a reissue head.
Were you still working retail when they started the MG line?
Yes, of course. So what you had was the DSL 20, the DSL 40, and the DSL 100 combos. Of course I would take an 800 over a DSL. And I would still take a JMP over an 800. The less gain, the better. You put your pedals in front of it, it even sounds better. But I'm talking about the kids, the 18-year-old, 17-year-old, 18-year-old kids that thought they had to have a 412 with a head, and all I could afford was $800 or $900 for the whole thing. And they thought because, oh my God, it's Line 6, it's got everything in it. That's better than a Marshall DSL 401.
Yep.
Not the case.
I've never heard an MG that wasn't muddy, Guitar Man, regardless of number after the letters MG.
Music Therapy Laz says, what do I think of the iconic 80-watt head? Don't know. I haven't tried it. I have no interest in trying it. I'm kind of through with the Van Halen sound, with the Van Halen amp sound. It's a one-trick pony. It's great for heavy metal or Van Halen or 90s rock. But that's not what I'm about. I don't like the clean channels in any of the Van Halen amps, or the PV or the EVH. And I love Van Halen. I'm never going to not love Van Halen. If I wanted to play Van Halen style music the rest of my life, that would be the amp I'd get. I'd get one of those in a heartbeat. But I play all kinds of music, and you can't play all kinds of music with that style of amplifier. You just can't. I'm sure you can, but you ain't going to get hired for any gigs doing it because it doesn't produce the sound that people really want for that.
Yeah.
You know, if you're doing original music and you want that style of amp, then by all means, I'm sure it's great.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, it works out great. Listen, I'm not going to tell anyone not to buy a tube amp. I'm not going to tell any Van Halen lover not to buy a Van Halen amp. I've owned one for many, many years. I just got rid of mine because it doesn't do what I want it to do. But again, if I'm playing Van Halen music, why not do it on a Van Halen amp?
Sure.
You know, it's easier than trying to get that sound out of what I got back there. Although I can get that sound. But then again, I can get any other sound ever for any type of music with those two combo amps and my pedal board. I don't know, 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Mm-hmm.
You got guys who swear by the EVH brand. That brand can't do any wrong, and you can do anything you want with that brand. And I've been on shows in the past that say that where the host says that. And that's fine and dandy. You can be an EVH lover all you want and think you can do whatever you want with a one-trick pony amp or guitar. In my world, you can't do that. And I'm not saying anyone else's world is wrong. It's right for them. But for me, I need something with a very vanilla based so I can put all my colors in it. You know?
I get it. Yeah, you want a blank canvas that just makes everything louder.
That's right. I want a blank canvas, and I'll throw all my own paint on it.
Yep. Quentin says, I use my RP360 XP for my YouTube stuff, but I would never use it as a live rig. I get it, yeah, because it works great as an interface. That's fine. That's what I was looking to do with the Stomp, was like if I want to live stream and play and stuff like that, be a good interface for decent tone. And then I just dial in a virtual Friedman and we go from there.
Octopus here says you have 20 guitars but can't have a dedicated metal amp.
Well, you can. Got space in the budget.
I have a lot of guitars, yes. And I have a lot of guitars with Floyd Roses on them. I have a lot of guitars with one humbucker and Floyd Roses on them. I am a product of the 80s. Those are guitars of my childhood. And every one of those guitars have a story. Every one of them have a story. And if it's not either that particular guitar, it's because of one that I had when I was younger that I've replaced it with. I'm always going to have a love for these style of guitars, although what I play these days are mostly Fender and Gibson guitars. I'm never going to get rid of that Statue of Liberty graphic Kramer. I'm never going to get rid of this striped Kramer. I'm a Kramer guy. I've always loved Kramers. I love Ibanez guitars too. I do love Floyd Rose guitars. They're a guilty pleasure of mine. And I mean, I'm not even guilty. They're just a pleasure of mine. But I also love Fenders and Gibsons. And yes, I'd rather have 40 guitars and have an amplifier or playing stereo the way I play. 2 small amplifiers playing in stereo. That's just the way I have it, the way I like it.
Sure.
And yes, do I want a Friedman small box 50? Of course I want one. Can't afford one right now. And you know what? I can't afford one. I choose not to spend $3,500 on an amplifier when I could spend that on a guitar or I think guitars to me are cooler to have a cool guitar than to have yet another amplifier sitting in my room. That's all. Because at the end of the day, I'd still go back to those 2 amplifiers and play out of that.
I get it. I used my Fender the last time was apparently November, and the cover's been on it ever since. I've been playing through my B-52, and I love it, and that's been my sound the last 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
because it does have a resonance knob, but it's got a nice clean, so I can dial in those lows, similar to like an EVH style amp, but it's still a pedal platform, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. I hear
Small
someone.
boxes.
I hear somebody.
Oh, look at that!
Hi, hon.
Hi,
Um, iRock Zed Blues wants to hear the story of my Kramer guitar.
Why not, Dave?
That guitar right there. All right, we'll end on that story. How about
I'm thinking, this will be a nice way to wrap things up.
So I'm not going to go get the guitar because I don't want to get up off my chair and get it. The Statue of Liberty guitar. Thank you, sweetheart. Ladies and gentlemen, Vanna White. Thank you, sweetheart.
And here comes our spokesmodel with the Statue of Liberty Kramer.
All right, so this guitar, when I was 15 and 16 years old, my mom would, I asked my mom to take me to the local Sam Ash music store, which was about a half hour away, and it was across the street from A&S Strauss, where she would go shopping for clothes or whatever. So she dropped me off at this music store on a Saturday morning, and I'd grab a guitar and go in the corner where the rack unit was with the whole rack gear and stuff, and I'd play very quietly, and wait for my mom, and she'd be a few hours, and I would leave. Everyone that worked there would leave me alone. I wasn't bothering anyone. I wouldn't play loud. If someone wanted to check out the rack, I'd let them, I'd unplug and let them play. I was just a very good boy. I was good. I stayed out of everyone's way. And I was a Kramer guy. I loved Kramer guitars, of course. I was new to Kramers, but I always loved them. And I would always pick up, whatever one they would have on the rack. And the store was $300 and $400 and $500 guitars would be on the racks in front of you. Mm-hmm. And then anything, of $800 or more would be behind the counter up high, so that you couldn't just touch them without asking for help. So one day I go into the store, and of course this guitar is sitting up high, and it was the first Kramer Beretta that I had ever seen with a graphic on it. And I thought to myself, my God, it's so cool. And I asked the guy, I said, can I take a look at that? He's like, we just got it in, I really don't want to put any fingerprints on it. It's, I really would like to save it for the guy who wants to buy it. And I understood. I get it. I got it. I wasn't upset. I was bummed, but not upset, because sure. I still have to play whatever Kramer guitar or whatever guitar I wanted to pick that was in the front. And they would leave me alone all day. They wouldn't say, turn down or listen, you got to go. They never said anything to me. So my mom comes and picks me up that one afternoon from the place, and we go home. And I said, I said to her, I said, you got to see this guitar, Mom. There's this one guitar there. It's got the Statue of Liberty graphics with fireworks on it, painted on it. And it's really, really cool. And it's this Kramer guitar that I've always wanted. And Eddie Van Halen plays this style of guitar. And I said, if we come back next week, and could you come in and just take a look at it? I just want you to take a look at it. It's just so beautiful. And if it's still there, you could see it. And she's like, well, if we come back. And of course we went back the following week. And she went in with me, and of course it was sitting up there. And she was like, you got to have that guitar. I got to buy that for you. And now she bought it. And I did my first battle of the bands with this guitar. Like a week later, played Eruption on it. What I could play of it. There were parts that I kind of screwed up.
I can do the A, G, and D chords, Dave. That's about it.
But yeah, we lost the battle of the bands. But anyway, I had the guitar. I had it until maybe I was 24 and sold it like an idiot. I sold it to get something else. And so our buddy Chad, years later, this was 2 years ago, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe
sounds about right. Maybe in
Chad,
3 at this point.
Chad. I saw. I'm looking on Reverb at guitars and saw a 86 Beretta with Statue of Liberty graphics on it, and it was like $1,200. And as I'm hitting buy it now, it sold from underneath me. Sold. A day later, our buddy Chad calls me. You'll never guess what I bought. What'd you buy, Chad? I bought a Klein graphic Kramer with the Statue of Liberty graphics and fireworks on it. It's beautiful. I said, let me guess. It was $1,200 on Reverb. Yeah, how'd you know? I said, because I was hitting buy it now when you bought it. You just beat me on it. I said, I've been wanting that guitar. I'm hoping, I had that guitar when I was 16, and who knows? Maybe it's my old guitar. Who knows? So a couple weeks later, he calls me and says, guess what I just found on Reverb? I said, I have no idea. He said, there's another Statue of Liberty Kramer, 86 on Reverb. I got the guy's info for you. Call him. He's looking to sell it. Okay. So I called the guy, and we finally make a deal, and it's way more money than the $1,200 on the original one. Finally get the guy to do a deal. He doesn't want to do PayPal. He didn't want to have a bank check. He wanted cash. I'm like, nobody ships cash, buddy. Nobody.
Yeah.
You got to be nuts if you think I'm going to send you cash in the mail for you to say you never got the cash. It just sounded very shady to me.
Sure.
I was like, listen, I'll send it to you, PayPal, friends and family. I'm happy to do it, son. You don't pay a fee. I don't pay tax. I'll ship it to you, friends and family. At least this way, PayPal has a receipt of me sending you money. He finally agrees. A couple days later, I get the case, the guitar in the case. And in the case, in the little flap, is a red guitar pick with my name on it. Guitar. So weird things can happen. My original guitar is back home.
I think the weirdest thing is that pick stayed in there that whole time.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that the life away from you was a bit of a case queen.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty cool. So it's never going to go. I'm never selling it again. It's going to stay here. I've got people asking me all the time, you going to sell it? I want to buy it. I want to give you 35, 4,500. No, I'm not getting rid of it again.
No,
I don't really play it often. I look at it more than anything, but my story is what's so important to me about this guitar.
I was gonna at the point, if that one's ever up for sale, that's when you're getting rid of everything at that point in life. Like that's gonna be the one of, if not the last to go. The first to arrive and the last to go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'll ever go. Yeah. I really don't. I mean, my I'm not selling it price is $100,000.
Right.
You want to give me $100,000? I'll give you this guitar and 2 more that are on the wall. Whatever you want that's sitting on the wall, $100,000. And I know that's stupid for me to even say. People are probably like, "You're an idiot," but it just goes to show I'm not selling the guitar.
Well, Boner James offered $1.99. He says, "And don't drop it, Dave. Jeez,
Yeah. Thank you for the $2, man. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Boner James.
Thanks, Boner James. Thanks for coming in.
Hey, Jimmy Ray.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the story on this guitar. Again, guys and girls, I am so sorry that we were a little late tonight. I fell asleep. And
yeah, you want to hear that story if you're tuning in late. Go to the top of the show.
Go back to the beginning. Go back to the beginning, and you'll get a good laugh on why we're late. And then you'll get a good laugh on how I almost killed myself swallowing a bottle of glue.
Yep. Yep. I didn't really bring much to tonight's show, folks. Dave was all the entertainment.
Goodness. How many ways can you kill yourself, Dave? Hey, Josh.
What's up, Josh?
We're going to say goodnight in a minute, so just rewind to the beginning and have fun. It's a good night.
Yeah, it was a fun time.
Good story night.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, we have Andy Aladort. We are going to do a rig rundown with him.
Nice.
He's going to tell us about all his guitars and a couple of the amplifiers he uses. Nice. And he may even do some playing for us. But it'll be a fun night. We'll be able to see all the stuff he's got. Cool
I'm
stuff.
going to just throw a prediction out there, Dave. We will not be going live on time next week.
Oh, really?
Really? I love Andy. Punctuality is not his forte.
Well, we'll see.
I'm saying 8:03, folks. I'm predicting 8:03. I'm not saying it's going to be crazy late. I'm just saying we will not be on time. And if we are, we are. All the more.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, I love being wrong at times.
Yeah, we're all wrong at times. We're all wrong at times. Anyway.
As I walked in mid-glue talk.
Really funny. Could have been very hazardous. But really fun.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Ben, I'll talk to you in the week, and we'll get next week straightened out.
Hang out with Andy Allendorf. Talk gear and good tone, because he's got it.
All right, guys and girls. Any last words, Ben?
Check out my channel. Sunday night, I got BC Rich 581 coming back on. We're going to talk about PV basses, Dave, because they don't get enough love. I think they're an underrated.
Cirrus bass rocks.
And maybe he'll pull out that headless BC Rich abomination again, because that thing's just stuck right in the old cranium.
Oh, yeah. Especially the color.
I can't unsee that. Yeah. Thanks, everybody that tuned in. Appreciate it. And again, if you're new, please subscribe and ring that bell.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks to everyone that left super chats. Thanks to everyone that watches. And we'll see you all next week.
Yep. Remember, if you want the podcast version, just hit play and close your eyes.
All right, guys and girls. Bye.